Word.
Cocksucker.
Bob the Beast Sapp, people. He is not on the streets. He's got $10 million in the bank, he said. God bless him. And thank you for tuning into the Word on the Street podcast. We are live. It's December 12th, the year 2014. It's almost over. It went by pretty damn quick, this one. We're all gonna be dead soon. That I can guarantee you. And yes, it is a dark podcast, people. It's a dark day in MMA. We're going to be talking mostly CM Punk joining the UFC. CM Punk is now a professional fighter, having no experience whatsoever, no fight record to speak of. Not even, I've never even heard of him being in real squabbles. Street fighting record, which I would be the first to know about, is clean. He's got a clean record. So what's going on with that? Is it a good thing? Do you hate it? Do you love it? Call in and let us know. Anybody call in. Anything goes on this show. It's the Word on the Street podcast. We want to hear from the streets. You can call in. The number is 512-782-WORD. That's 512-782-9673. And talking anything you want. We'll also be covering. Bob Sapp always does the intro. It was from when he was a guest on the show, and it brings back to mind the fact that he was once invited to be on Ariel Helwani's podcast, his rinky-dink show.
Cocksucker.
And Helwani ambushed him. He ambushed Bob Sapp. Bob Sapp's one of the nicest, sweetest guys you could ever meet. And Ariel Helwani tried to destroy that man. And we saw something similar happen this week. It happened on Monday, my birthday. I cried tears of joy watching Joe Rogan destroy Brendan Schaub live on the air. It was, technically, in my mind, it was an ambush interview. Especially when you hear Brendan Schaub's reply to the Rogan rape, which we'll play here in a second. But before we get to CM Punk and Brendan Schaub and start taking calls, I do want to give credit and introduce you to and get him on the mic.
Powerful.
He is the greatest producer in the MMA podcasting world. That's for damn sure. He's the producer of not only my show, The Word on the Street, he's the producer of his own show, the MMA podcast, and now the new producer on the Front Row Brian show. Shout out to Front Row Brian, good friend of ours. But he is none other than Jake from the MMA podcast. What do you hear? What do you say?
It's been the strangest damn thing. I had the weirdest thing happen to me last night. I dreamed last night I made love to a female Sasquatch. And in this dream, I had taken a Viagra. And that's something, when you take a Viagra, it clogs up my nasal passages, and so you can't breathe. And everybody knows it's hard to eat pussy when you cannot breathe. So I busted out my pocket knife, made some modifications to this snorkel, and proceeded to take care of business. So I can only imagine the visual because, me with the snorkel, the bald head, the white chrome dome, going down into the nether regions of a female Sasquatch. It had looked like a white submarine heading into the Bermuda Triangle. And the strangest thing is, I woke up this morning, Mo, and I'm coughing up hairballs. Wow. I'm coughing up big hairballs. So what I'm going to do when I get home, I'm going to make some modifications. I'm going to put a screen filter on a snorkel gimmick, patent it. I'm going to sell it on Amazon.com. It's going to be called the Sasquatch Pussy Snorkel. The bonus feature is it's not just for eating Sasquatch pussy. It's great for eating hairy human pussy too. Because there's nothing like a big ass bush, and that's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that, Ramsey. So you can follow us on Twitter at the MMA Podcast. It's a pleasure to be on the Word on the Street as always. We got a lot to break down. It was a crazy weekend, probably the biggest pay-per-view of 2014, just as far as, the two big championships, welterweight in lightweight. Pettis retains it. Robbie Lawler, fucking 25-10. He has more losses than every other UFC champion combined. 25-10. He is, if you are an MMA fighter who has a few losses, this is the guy you aspire to be. He gets back in the gym, he works up his game, and he takes the belt away from Johnny Hendricks, who was a pretty sizable favorite in Vegas. So shout out to Robbie Lawler for taking the belt. And other than those 2 championships, it was a fun ass card. The CM Punk news we're going to be talking about very shortly. Calling people, it's 512-782-WORD. It is the word on the street.
Now, Jake, I totally forgot that there were 2 title fights on Saturday night. It's been overshadowed. It was overshadowed before the fights even started. Out of nowhere, sort of, CM Punk shows up with Joe Rogan during the UFC 181 pay-per-view, which is weird that they didn't even do it on national television during the Fox card. But whatever.
And
paid for the pay-per-views, got to see it.
And it's almost the boy who cried wolf, because the UFC has promised a lot of big announcements in 2014, and most times it either is not that big of an announcement, or literally Dana White says, oh yeah, it's not going to happen, it didn't work out, sorry. So we're not really expecting that much. Meltzer, Botter, most folks were predicting that the announcement was going to be that the next season of The Ultimate Fighter was going to be American Top Team versus Black Zillions. And that was not the case. And it's sort of the boy who cried wolf, because no one was expecting it to be a big announcement. I actually almost left to go and take a piss, but I'm like, you know what, I'll stick around. I know I'm going to be disappointed, but let's see what they tried to line up for us. And then it's CM Punk standing next to Rogan. And
what was your real reaction, man? If you can recall your first feeling.
Man, I was honestly, my first thought was, what the fuck is the UFC doing? That was like. And thinking about it now, I obviously get it. Like, this is not a matter of if the UFC is going to make money off of this. This is how much money is the UFC going to make off of this. But in the same token, we'll play the Nate Diaz clip in a while. But he makes a good point that signing a pro wrestler with this is not like signing a Brock Lesnar, who was an NCAA champion wrestling and had one MMA fight where he destroyed someone. And let's be honest, it was in 2007, where the MMA landscape was a lot different in 2007 than it is now. In almost 2015, you have a lot less prospects, in having an NCAA champion wrestler who goes 1-0 and destroys a guy. That is a reasonable signing. In December 2014, signing a WWE superstar who has trained some jiu-jitsu but doesn't really have any knowledge of striking and has never fought in an MMA fight in his career, that does sort of, to Nick Diaz's point, devalue everything. So honestly, I'm sitting right on the fence, because I'm not going to sit here and lie. I'm looking forward to seeing Phil Brooks fight in the UFC. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I get it. I get the frustration that's coming from a lot of people.
Sounds like you're the everyman in this one, man. That's how
Joe
most people feel.
I get it.
Yeah, you're just drinking beer for the working class man, dude. But yeah, that is how most people felt. That's kind of how I feel. Except, I love it. I was cheering. I was happy about it. I didn't see it coming. Of course, there were rumors that CM Punk was thinking about coming over to the UFC. But as far as this announcement goes, it was a total surprise, and that's rare when you hear me saying it, people, because I've got the word on the street. I've proven myself time and time again for you people. In fact, UFC 181, I got the script early. You can go back and look. I called and bet on 5 out of 5 fights. All cashed. 5 out of 5 people. That's right. It's all documented too. I'm just tearing up shit, man. I'm spending that money right now, scooping up caviar with my flipper. That's a different podcast altogether. But no, nobody saw the announcement coming. Nobody called it. So hats off to the UFC. It goes to show you they can still pull the atomic bomb off and keep a secret if they want to. But this one, definitely my take on CM Punk. Well, here's the thing. Nate Diaz is a little bit. He's got a damn good point. And yeah, let's go ahead and cue him up here. See what he had to say about it. This is from earlier today at the the press day or something. I don't know. He's fighting on Saturday, Dos Anjos. Well, we'll kind of maybe talk about that at the end of the show, maybe. But yeah, basically the difference between CM Punk coming in and Brock Lesnar coming in. Another big difference is, besides the fact that Brock had actual, history, records, in competing, and is an all-around athlete. The difference is, and it matters. Brock Lesnar is a huge fucking dude. He's an animal. He's a beast. He's strong. You'd look at him and you think, Jesus Christ, that guy could probably fight. CM Punk, he's a scrawny-looking dude, really. Not
How dare you?
Not very intimidating to look at, and honestly, he doesn't. I mean, Brock Lesnar, he wants sushi. He rips the salmon out of the river and just starts eating it raw. Phil Brooks, fish is the only thing he eats. He's one of those weird vegetarians that's just decided that fish and seafood are okay for some reason. I guess they don't matter as much as any other animal. But yeah, the dude doesn't eat meat. And he's going to have to put on some weight here, some muscle. He's going to have to put on some muscle if he's going to fight the UFC people. Because if he comes out there looking like CM Punk did in WWE, it's going to be laughable. Nobody's going to take him seriously. They'll know he wasn't even training. Just like James. It'll be another James Toney situation. But most of the fighters, they know it's a good thing. It's going to bring more attention. You fight on a CM Punk card, guess what? A lot of people are going to see you fight that night. If you get to fight CM Punk, that is a huge payday. There's a civil war going on with the fighters right now, trying to decide and argue over who gets them first. Huge payday. But a few of the fighters, like Nate Diaz, a friend of mine, aren't too happy about it. He's not too thrilled. And he was asked a question about CM Punk. I'm sure they asked everybody, but Nate Diaz was the only one who had the hot take, so to speak, of that I can think of today. So Jake, man, if you're ready, what did Mr. Nate Diaz have to say about CM Punk?
Credit to MMAJunkie.com. By the way, follow them on YouTube, their YouTube channel, MMAJunkie.com. They got lots of shit, people.
Look, dude, CM Punk is it's horrible for the sport, as far as I'm concerned. Great for the sport. They're going to make a lot of money off of it. But I think it's a big old joke. I'm watching TV, I'm watching the fights, and all of a sudden this punk guy's coming on and slick back hair and a little puny virgin nose, and it's like he's gonna big.
Yo, by the way, virgin nose, hashtag virgin nose, people. That's the first time I've heard that term.
He was really fixated on it.
It's a pretty awesome fucking term. I'm sorry.
He brought up the nose. He brought up CM Punk's nose several times in 2 different interviews that I saw today. For some reason, he's really just stuck on this goddamn nose thing, man.
Do you have a virgin nose?
It's never been broken. I've never taken any damage whatsoever.
You got a virgin nose, bro.
Yeah, I've never been injured or sick a day in my life. The only other person I know of who can claim that is Chael Sonnen. Word on the street.
broken my nose, torn an ACL, broken like 20 different bones. Good times, but let's
Well, I have crippling arthritis, but I've never broken my nose. So there's that. Anyway, Nate Diaz, he was getting on a roll here. Let's see what he's got.
Slick back hair, a little puny virgin nose, and it's like he's gonna. Oh, big announcement! Punk gets to fight in the UFC. I don't dig it. You know, he is got no fights. I know he's a big draw. I looked him up, and everyone's gonna buy tickets. It's gonna be great for the venue and the UFC, but same time, it downgraded all the fighters, and everybody's acting excited about it. Congratulations, CM Punk. Congratulations, this guy's coming. But it's like, if I want to, I can't go. If I want to, I can't go play in the NBA. And even Stephen Struve's begging, he can't go play in the NBA if he wants to.
That was the line of the interview, by the way.
Because he feels like making a change. Oh, for a publicity thing, they wouldn't pay him no money, and they wouldn't even let him play. It's ridiculous. We're pros, right? Like, I don't think you should just let some millionaire WWE guy just come on over and play a little game, like have fun with his career. I'm over here busting my ass and fighting for 10 years and doing my thing and having a serious job that I have to do for this, and you got this guy's gonna come over and probably get paid more than everyone in the room, and then I don't know if he'll do well. He might do great. He might do, but why does he get a chance? He's an amateur. You're gonna put an amateur in the pros. That makes us all amateurs. So I think it's ridiculous. And
can you pause it for a second, Mr. Jake?
Can't.
Yeah. What about that point that Nate Diaz just made? You're bringing in an amateur to fight in the pros. That makes us all amateurs. I mean, is that a stone thought, or is that making sense to you?
Oh, snap, son.
I think he makes a really good-ass point. Like, you know, like I said, there's... This almost goes back to the interview we had with Michael Schaub back in... Oops, the mic was not close to my face.
There we go.
The interview we had... I'll turn it up in post. The interview we had with Michael Schaub in 2012, when Chael Sonnen got a title fight against John Jones, and that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Nate Diaz's brother, which is funny. Nick Diaz got a title shot over Johnny Hendricks in early 2013, I believe it was, because he was going to draw more than Johnny, and everyone thought Johnny earned it and Johnny deserved it more, but they made the Diaz GSP fight because it was there. There was a lot of animosity. And Michael Schaub went on one of the most legendary rants we've had on the MMA podcast, which was the UFC is not about rankings, it's about ratings, which is totally true. The
we need
UFC
that clip.
It is all about, oh man, dude, I am going to look it up and play it on the next show. But it is totally true. The UFC is going after the money. Can you blame them? They're a fucking business. They're a business, man. If you want to start your own MMA organization and run it ethically as possible and only make the matches by rankings and pay no attention to what fights are going to draw, good fucking luck. That's all I gotta say. The UFC knows what they're doing, and they're in the business of making money like every other fucking business on the planet. And I can't blame them, man. Like, I can't blame them, but at the same fucking time, I can jump on the other side of the fence and say, look, the UFC, if you want to be thought of like the NFL or the NBA, the great metaphor Diaz pushed out, the NFL isn't gonna let Brad Pitt come and be a tryout kicker, you know, like it's just not gonna. Yeah, if they let Brad Pitt play kicker for the Minnesota Vikings for a game, so many people would watch that game and you'd get a ton of revenue off of ads and this and that. But it's like, yeah, he has no experience doing it, so what business does he have playing in that sport? And I can see, like CM Punk, give it, like if the UFC, like this seemed really rushed. If the UFC played their cards right, this is what they should have done. They should have worked out with, say, the RFA. RFA is an awesome fighting organization run by Ed Soares. You've gotten a lot of talent fed up from RFA to the UFC. Give CM Punk 1 or 2 fights in RFA, and it'll build a lot of credibility for that promotion that I'm sure the UFC wants to build up, because Soares and the Fertittas are awesome buddies, and you see a lot, like it is very, very, very common in RFA for the champion to only hold 2. Like, you have so many champions who win the belt and never defend it because the UFC signs them. Zach Makovsky, Sergio Pettis, a bunch of fighters. And have CM Punk fight just a bum or two. Just let him work his record to 1-0 or 2-0. Give him the 6 months of MMA training to give him those couple fights in RFA where you're not going to be fighting in an arena full of 20,000 people. You're going to be fighting in an arena of 10 or 7. And you get a couple fights under your belt, so when the UFC does sign you, it doesn't look this fucking ridiculous, because as much money as you're gonna make, this is a ridiculous signing, man. The guy has no striking background at all. Even though he says he has a Kempo karate, I don't know. He self-admitted he was a white belt in striking. He's rolled jiu-jitsu part-time for like a year. Like, I don't know, man. It really does take a lot of credibility away from the UFC, and that kind of bums me out.
Well, there's a price. It speaks to a little bit of desperation, but at the same time, they would be idiots to refuse this deal with CM Punk. To not sign CM Punk would be idiotic.
And I think this is that pressure. I said maybe it happened a little prematurely, and that probably was the pressure coming from Bellator. I'm sure CM Punk said, hey, if you guys don't sign me, I'm going to go to Bellator. And if CM Punk goes to a Bellator, that's not going to be good for the UFC at all. So if Bellator didn't exist, if World Series of Fighting didn't exist, if you didn't have these promotions that make the UFC stay on their toes, they would probably go the route of the Brock Lesnar. Let him fight. I mean, you have got to know that when Brock Lesnar fought his first fight in Dynamite, or whatever the fuck it was, Brock and the UFC, I'm 100% sure, met before that fight and said, hey, you're going to beat this bum up, and after you do, we're going to sign you. Unfortunately, you can't really have that go down when CM Punk is taking offers from rival organizations like World Series of Fighting and Bellator, and that's probably why the UFC knew they had to strike while they could, which I don't blame them, and it takes a lot of weight. Like I said, I'm as on the fence as you could be about this. I just ranted 5 minutes on both sides.
Hey.
Like I don't know what the fuck.
You had a good theory. And we do have a call coming in here. Maybe they'll have a hot take or something. But caller, you are on the Word on the Street podcast. You're from the 360 area code zip, whatever the hell it's called. You don't have to give your name. You can make up a fake one. It doesn't matter. But how are you doing? You're live now. What's up, dude?
I'm doing well. There's a big-ass windstorm here in the Pacific Northwest, so I'm trying to escape it.
Nice. Good luck on that, man.
Are you near West Lynn?
Wilderness.
I'm sorry?
Are you near West Lynn, Oregon, up in the Pacific Northwest?
I am right up by the Canadian border in northwest Washington.
Nice.
It's cold as fuck, ain't it?
Although, yeah, it's not too far from West Lynn, Oregon.
Excellent, dude. Well, welcome to the show, man. We were just talking about CM Punk being signed to the UFC, of course, but also we're of course, it's Pride rules. So, like, even though Brendan Schaub has been knocked down, we do allow ground stomping and soccer kicks to his head while he's down. So, anything you wanted to call in and talk about in particular?
Well, I'm excited to see CM Punk do his thing. I think he's biting off a lot more than he can probably chew, but it'll still be pretty interesting to see what happens. And he may surprise some people, too, even himself.
So you're actually down for it. Were you a WWE fan, or are you even a UFC fan? Like, I like to know what kind of fan I'm talking to.
Yeah, big UFC fan. I've watched a little WWE here and there when I'm bored on Monday nights, but not seriously into it. But I'm aware of who he is, and frankly, he kind of annoys me. So kind of want to see what happens, see if he gets his ass beat or whatever.
I hear you. He does live up to the Punk nickname and gimmick. I'll give him that.
Absolutely. He's got that straight edge thing going on. But
yeah, that pisses me off.
Yeah, well, I don't think he lives up to it. He doesn't look straight edge. He's not a clean cut guy. He's got logo of soda on there, right? That's got caffeine in it, tons of sugar.
It's true.
Doesn't exactly straight.
He's a fucking addict. He's on drugs. You're right.
Exactly. And I gotta admit, I'm jealous of all the hot chicks he's banged. So.
No kidding, man. His wife's a dime.
No matter how. What's that?
His wife's a pretty nice piece. Also a wrestling, whatever they're called, a diva or whatever it is.
Shoot mad loads in that shit, son.
All day, man. You know it. Well, so what do you think? Who are they? Do you have any takes on who they're going to match him up with? Who he's going to have to fight first? Any ideas?
Well,
there are a bunch of rumors. We'll get to that. But what do you think? Who should he fight?
Well, I think he should fight someone legit. If he's fighting in the UFC, he needs to fight someone legit in the UFC. That's my take.
Just throwing little wolves.
Yeah, no barista like they did for DC. That's not going to fly with me.
So you want them to treat him like he was Randy Couture's son, Randy Jr., whatever his name was.
Kinda.
Got destroyed in the UFC.
Ryan.
They don't need to hook him up with a rank guy or anything, but someone worthy of being in the UFC, absolutely.
I agree, man. And yeah, the rumors, the word on the street that I've been hearing is the possible opponents lined up. I'm hearing ridiculous shit, but I'm hearing heavily, like from legit sources, I'm hearing some crazy ass shit. I'm hearing that Joe Rogan is on the table. Like it's not out of the question for him because he was gonna take the Wesley Snipes fight back in the day because of the fact that he knew that Wesley Snipes had no training or experience in competition whatsoever. He knew he would easily win. So Rogan's been down for a UFC fight before, Punk, he'd be a big name. It would actually move some pay-per-views. I also heard that Eddie Bravo might throw his hat into the ring. They're both just.
Could Eddie hit up 185 or even remotely close to that to get that sanction for it?
They'd probably have to do 170 if Eddie Bravo is going to be involved, man, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
But Punk said it's out there in the open. And of course it'd be a straight up, jiu-jitsu match. Like they'd just have a handshake agreement, let's not punch each other. Let's go straight to the ground and do this shit and get paid. I of course think CM Punk's first fight will be a complete work, and he will have his opponent job to him just like it was a WWE. Well, what do you think, Jake, man? Who's he gonna face first, man? If you had to pick, who are you thinking?
I'm thinking there is absolutely 100% no way in fuck that he fights Rogan or Eddie Bravo. But I don't know. I think he fights a 1-1 guy, a 1-0 guy, a 2-0 guy as far as their UFC records go. He won't fight a ranked opponent until he has 2 or 3, probably 2 UFC wins under his belt, if that even happens. But I think Dana has even said that he's gonna fight a 1-0 or 2-0 guy, and I expect it. Just like some fringe random guy they just signed. I think Punk actually will fight at 170. If he fights at middleweight, more power to him. But yeah, I think he fights just. And there are so many guys in that range who have scored a win or two in their division that it's useless to just stab at random at a random name. If you want me to, I will. But yeah, I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, at this point, nobody knows for sure. But caller, so what do you think, CM Punk, if you had to call it right now, does he win his first fight in the UFC? Is it a one and done? Or
not unless it works.
Yeah. I'm leaning towards ass whooping if they don't work it. It'll be an embarrassing.
Yeah, he doesn't have much training. He's got a little jiu-jitsu, but that's about it. And he's got a lot of style, a lot of charisma, but that's about all he's got, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he claimed he had a background in Kempo or something. And to my knowledge, it's some like weak-ass, semi-legit fighting style with and then sometimes you use bamboo sticks or some shit. I don't even know.
I've actually trained Kempo myself. There's a early version of mixed martial arts, Kaji Kempo.
What is it?
Kempo is one of the components. Basically, at least the style that I did was, it was designed for big, strong Westerners that works in the street. So, but it was a hybrid of all those other elements too. So pure Kenpo, we'll see. But
so it's some sort of mutt of mixed martial arts.
Exactly, it's kind of a hybrid.
All right. Well, we'll see exactly what it is when CM Punk makes his damn debut.
That's right. I was curious what you guys were thinking about the Brendan Schaub Rogan podcast. I think you guys mentioned that in the tweet.
I was about to ask you, man. Everybody knows that I can't stand Brendan Schaub. He trashed my man Chael Sonnen and one of his coaches, and I just think he's a douchebag in general. So I was laughing my ass off. Everyone knows that. But wait, before you get Jake's take, what's yours, man? Did you watch this thing go down live? Did you see it later? Did you hear about it?
I saw it later on the body. Bitches. Yeah, they're posting about that, and so I saw an edited version of it. Actually, it looked like they had edited some stuff out. I saw another YouTube video of it, of where Rogan was really, really kicking him when he was down, and on the surface, on the first version that I saw, I agreed with Rogan. But then when I saw that additional clip, I thought, man, that's just too much. That's just too much.
But it was the truth, right? You felt it was the truth. I mean, nobody was really calling for Schaub's retirement until Rogan did. But I mean, he had a point, man. I think he had a point.
He did, and it's his friend. He doesn't want his friend to be punch drunk when he's talking for years after his fighting career. But at the same time, the dude, like Brendan said, he doesn't have $12 million in the bank like Rogan does, so it's kind of easy for someone to say that to someone else. So I was torn. I actually don't like Schaub, but I actually felt sorry for him when I saw that second clip.
Well, I want to be the type of human being that feels sorry when I see something like that, but I was laughing.
I hear you, man.
I took joy from it. I don't like Brendan Schaub. I didn't like him before that. I was trying to tell people about this Schaub motherfucker. Nobody would listen. But now everybody's hopping on the bandwagon, especially the dude was just full of excuses about his fight. I mean, We're about to. Yep. No, I was just gonna say we're about to play his reaction to the whole Rogan thing. He did a podcast the next day, and of course, like he was still in denial. It was pathetic, but yeah, man, the whole thing is sad, but true and hilarious. And I loved it. It was on my birthday, man. It was a great gift from Joe Rogan. And shout out to Joe.
Powerful Joe Rogan.
Hell yeah, man. You got any other hot takes or anything before we're gonna get to the Schaub clip and then some CM Punk clip or some bullshit here. But before we let you go, man, you got anything else for the Word on the Street podcast?
Well, it's good talking to you guys, and keep up the good work.
Yeah, you got anything to Twitter to plug or something?
Yeah, GB Linden.
GB Linden. All right, send me a Twitter message, man. If I'm not following you, I will be shortly. Go ahead and do that. Right. Thank you for calling.
I do better on Twitter. Suck my dick.
I appreciate it, man.
Thanks a lot, brother.
Yeah, call in again, man. See ya.
All
Get
right,
off the fucking Twitter.
Yeah, man. Good guy there, GB London. I'll get his correct exact spelling on his Twitter handle so everyone else can thank him and follow him. This and that. Jake. You did bring up the money thing, and this didn't make sense to you, and that the CM Punk signing overall is a little bit perplexing. But here's the bottom line. Here's the word in the street. This year, 2014, was not a good year for the UFC. Profits are down, reportedly by as much or as little as 30% for the year. So you take away the biggest draws this year. The UFC didn't have Anderson Silva, and they did not have George St. Pierre. And so what do you get? It's time to sign CM Punk, a WWE wrestler. Desperate times, people. Desperate measures. But this was a good move. Especially CM Punk, being a scrawny guy, straight edge, like the caller said. Not a damaged, tainted fighter. He's not on the exactly, and he's not on the roids.
Speaking of virgin nose, we have like another minute of that Nate Diaz rant. If you want to finish that.
Yeah. I almost forgot about that. Yes. Let's get back to. Let's pass the mic back off to Nate Diaz, and let's hear what else he'll finish. I think there's only a minute or two left. We'll see what else he had to say about it.
Yeah, there's like 40 seconds left.
The whole situation, and anybody who.
Actually, we paused it at a pretty good spot. I'll go back a few seconds.
So I think it's ridiculous. And so as far as I'm concerned, him, the whole situation, and anybody who takes a fight is tripping. They need to either get paid. Like, by all means, if you're getting paid out, fight that. But everybody in the UFC, I want to be your first fight. I'm like, what are you even talking about? This guy don't get to fight me. You know what I'm saying? He's an amateur. Don't even put him in here. I can't, like I said, I can't go play in the NFL because I want to. Even the champ, they wouldn't let him go play in the NFL because he wants to. You don't put the amateurs with the pros, and I think it's a ridiculous situation. So fuck that. I don't even want to hear about it. Anybody who takes a.
That was the end of the rant. I think he went a little bit longer. If you want me to keep going.
We might as well finish it out, man. I love Nate Diaz. I'm a fan.
He's like calling out CM Punk. It's like, I want to fight. It's like amateur. They're not even using their head. It's like you're gonna antagonize this and pump it up more. It's so ridiculous that the guy's gonna get. They're gonna be like, okay, you're the one. Act like you have the privilege to fight this guy who don't even fight, and the guy's gonna get paid millions of dollars, and you're gonna get paid your same $20,000 paycheck. You guys are jokes too. Anybody by all means, if you get paid more than him or at least the same amount, then I ain't gonna make your money. You know what I'm saying? But that's ridiculous if you're gonna sit there and antagonize that and play right into it. I'm like, why? Keep that amateur in the amateur league. You know what I'm saying? Until he goes and knocks a bunch of people on and comes. He ain't even ready to fight anyway. I see him on his slick back. He gets the announcement. When I fight, I don't get to go to UFCs and hold a mic and, hey, Nate Diaz is fighting. And woo, woo, woo. I'm like, I've been here 9 years. You know what I'm saying? And they don't give a when I'm coming back. They don't care when Stephen Schaub or Stipe over here is,
Stipe.
They don't put us with a mic.
Stipe
Stipe is in the UFC, dude.
And that's lack
Everybody heard it when he fights him.
I think we're going to be treated like amateurs if everybody keeps acting like amateurs. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I said, you see these fights sometimes. You go to these cities where the big football teams are at, and there's they bring the football players from that team over, and they put the main event on the side, and the football player gets in the middle of them, and then the fighters are all smiling, happy that they get to take a picture with this guy. The football players are great, but it's like when we go to the football games, no one's pulling us out on the field and taking pictures, and oh, look who's here. And not that they need to, but like, why are we like? Why is it a blessing and like so great for everybody when you know what I'm saying? I just downgrade their stock like we're lucky to be by this football player.
Which it is sort of like a random point to make, but he makes a really good point. Like when Kevin Harvick, a NASCAR guy or a basketball team, comes to a UFC event, they're really put on in the spotlight, and when they bring
and everything,
when they bring UFC fighters, it's like it'll probably show up on the UFC's Instagram, but that'll be about it.
I think it's like maybe Johnny Hendricks throws out the pitch at like a minor league game in fucking Round Rock, Texas.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is
fucking
bullshit.
Tyler, Texas, or some shit.
It'll all come back around, and having big names and big draws like CM Punk is going to do exactly that. But yeah, man, Nate Diaz, of course he's talking sense. It's the last thing you'd expect to come out of his mouth, but there it is, people. And you heard it, man. Stipe versus Dos Santos, man. JDS versus REM. It's going down this Saturday.
It's going to be a fun card.
Yeah, I got Junior, man. Hands down.
All day. Stipe Miocic has beaten Roy Nelson. A lot of people. Stipe Miocic has beaten a lot of, or has beaten Roy. A lot of folks have beaten Roy. Other than Roy Nelson, Stipe doesn't have a single really good win on his record. So if he beats Dos Santos, good on him. I was wrong. I think, he seems like a pretty likable dude on Twitter and all of that. Seems like a good guy. But JDS, in my opinion, is the second best heavyweight in the world. I think we're probably going to see the quadrilogy in late 2015 or 2016. And it's one of those weird situations like we have currently with the heaviest and the lightest weight class in the world. You have a champion in Demetrius and Kane who regularly beats the stuffing out of the number 2 guy, Benavidez or JDS. And it's like, man, are you going to make a quadrilogy fight? Like what? I think Dos Santos, he hasn't fought in a while, but once he starts beating a lot of people, I think it's going to become clear that he's the number 1 contender.
Yeah, and then how many times is Dos Santos going to have to job to Kane, man?
He's taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, those fights were works, man. The only true fight was the first fight. That was such an embarrassment. They had to leash JDS, keep him from knocking out their Mexican champ. Now it ain't worth a damn. I think JDS will probably wear the belt one more time, in my opinion. Kane's just a liability at this point. The trilogy fight. It was excellent. I was there.
I even have a Kane versus JDS Ramses drop. Hell yeah.
Man.
This is the first time
I was there.
That one's come in handy.
Kane versus JDS, the trilogy fight. UFC 166, Houston,
The fight
Texas.
was a work, people.
I was there. Had to ditch my brother's wedding, but he had 2 weddings, so fuck him. I'm sorry, I'm being
He is
handed
a faggot.
Oh no! Breaking news.
Rustling up papers over there.
It's coming out of Curitiba, Brazil. There's reports that Super Calo was shot in the face 13 times by police during a favela raid. He's dead.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Mo. That was the moment of silence for him. Yeah, it's a damn tragedy, man.
Wow. I
But
don't know.
that was breaking news, dude. It's dark episode. It is, man. But my week's still going better than Brandon Schaub's. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah,
Let's play.
I wish you would have let me know a little bit ahead of time. I would have played the breaking news sound effect, yo. Super Calo dead.
Someone ran in and just handed this to me at the desk just now. I'll give you a heads up a little bit next time, man. But the poor bastard.
Shot in the face. Yeah, we have Brendan Schaub reacting to Joe Rogan. I got it queued up. You want to listen to this shit?
This is some sorry ass shit. It's only a couple minutes, but and of course, you know, if we'll stop at the appropriate ridiculous moments. But yes, he did respond the next day on his own podcast after the tears had settled and dried or whatever. I've never cried in my life, so I don't even know. But all I know is you're about to listen to a little bitch, people.
When we recorded that with Joe, I didn't expect Joe.
This is Brian Callen speaking.
To be that frank.
That's the other one.
You didn't expect Joe to be that open and frank. And sorry I wasn't any help.
You did nothing.
And that voice you just heard is Brendan Schaub. If you're not familiar with all of it, Schaub lost. Rogan had him in the studio. Rogan got really intense with him, almost an intervention, basically telling him to retire because he's taking too much brain damage. He has 1 foot out the door. He's not an elite fighter. He can't contend with the elite guys, and he should just give up because there's no chance he can win the championship. And Schaub's like, what the fuck? And basically started crying. And then Rogan said, brain damage, you're smart. I don't want to see you turn into a fucking retard because if you keep going out there, you're just going to keep getting punched in the face and knocked out, and it's not going to be good. And Schaub was like, what the fuck? So this is Schaub reacting to Rogan's, which literally someone went on Schaub's Wikipedia and edited in verbal beatdown loss.
Man, I wonder who
crazy.
that guy was. It's nuts, man. That's mean. That's really crazy.
Yeah, that's really crazy.
Nothing. Let me paint the fucking scenario here. We were scheduled to do a Fire and the Kid with Evan the Beard at Fox Sports. Brian sends me a text the night before, goes, hey man, let's do it with Joe. We'll just do it at Rogan Studios. I think it'll be good. I texted him and said, hey man, I don't want this to be an attack on my career or my team or my coaches. None of that. We can talk about the fight, but I just want it to be open, fun, kind of. Brian's text is, yeah, of course not, man. This will be good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, cool. Show up. Brian's not there. It's just me and Rogan. I go, Rogan's a really, really close friend of mine. I go, as soon as I get there, I go, Joe, what's up? He goes, what's up, man? I go, not much, man. Talking. He goes, you want to save the small talk and we'll just talk on air? I went, he's never talked to me like that ever. I went, sure, I guess. So I sat there going through all his snacks, eating the shit out of Nature Box, pickles, and coffee. Then
NatureBox.com. Use the promo code DavyBoy for 15% off.
Brian gets there. We sit down, and Brian texts me before we walk in, goes, don't worry, man, I got your back. Don't worry, I got your back. I would never let anything happen to you like that. So then we're sitting down, and Rogan just literally, just thrashes me to the fullest extent, and I'm tapping Brian like, for sure chime in.
You were going like this. You were going, huh. huh? And I was like, let's change the subject.
Well, you know why I was going, huh? Because if I would have spoke, you would have heard me crying. I was trying not to cry.
Yeah.
I was trying not to cry.
I think he should have let it go, man. I think he should have let the crying go. Maybe a few less people would have laughed their asses off. Maybe I don't know. We could take up a GoFundMe or something. I don't know. He's claiming he makes as much money podcasting as he does fighting. I hope that's true. Because Jesus, after this, how do you even put on the gloves again? He was destroyed. He was raped by Joe Rogan. Repeatedly, violently, and publicly.
Powerful.
And guess what, Brendan Schaub? This is another case. I don't believe in karma, but, sometimes it does come back around to you.
I didn't get my lick in.
Yep. And Schaub, talking that trash on Sonnen and his coaches a couple months ago. And guess what? Now he's been, what's it? Ethered? I don't even know what the kids are calling it these days.
You say that.
But that happened to Schaub. And it was a knee slapper to me. It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy, is the phrase. Jake,
what are we going to do?
If you had to call it right now, I'm putting Schaub's career in your hands right now. I'm just making you his manager or something like that. Should he retire right now at this very second? Yes or no?
No.
You know what? I also agree. I think he's got one more beating to take, and I want to be there to see it, front row. God bless.
God bless us. We'll continue the Brendan Schaub reaction.
Because if I would have spoke, you would have heard me crying. I was trying not to cry.
Yeah.
I was trying not to cry. I was thinking to myself, my phone blew up. I had 45 text messages from friends, family, people going, walk out right now. Don't take this. Walk out right
45.
now. No.
Yeah,
Joe's
all 40 members of his family
Brian,
and friends were watching, huh? They were just listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, right? 40 people, huh? And they all texted him, huh? 40? Schaub? 40 people texted you? All right. Go
Probably
on.
four.
He's a good buddy. He's just a pussy.
Nobody did.
I'll figure something out. Me, Rogan are boys, and you and I are boys. I don't agree with Rogan. Some of his points I do agree with. There's some stuff when you lay it out and you look at numbers, I can see why he thinks I should move on. The truth of the fact is I make about as much money doing this show as I do in the UFC.
What the fuck are you talking about?
It's about identical. Mm-hmm. That's just being honest with you guys. So from Joe, and I'm trying to paint a picture. He's coming as a friend saying, bro, you don't have to take hits to the head. You don't.
Right. That's
a lot of guys have to. You don't, because he knows what kind of income we have and the potential.
And he
of the
genuinely
show
loves you. He really does.
And I love him, and it's all good. For Rogan to say, you're too smart. You think these other warriors are thinking about plan Bs and stuff like that. Maybe not. These guys don't. They're not doing what I do. I think this is a path no one's really has taken. Do I think I can compete at a high level and still kind of do what we're doing? 100%, man. 100%. I disagree with him there. It's a fine line, man. It's a fine line between hanging it up and moving on and continuing to fight. Have I had concussions? 100%. It's documented. You've seen me in the UFC. I played football for 20 years, so I'm sure there is. I'd rather live my life for 50 years being a warrior than live to 100 being a freaking gazelle. Does that make sense? Just being a peasant. I'd rather 50 years of a warrior. Cool, sign me up, man.
You are a warrior.
100 years as a peasant. Nah, I'm good. I'll take the 50 glories.
The stuff you were hearing, I know how hurtful it was. Oof. And last night after we did,
I walked in the door and cried, man. I walked in the door of my house and cried for probably 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, who can I call right now to fucking
not
back
Brian.
me up on this? For sure not Brian. Best friend out the window.
Wait. Pause it. Wait, what does he mean? Who can he call? He can call any one of the 40 people that were texting him to try to walk out of the podcast. What is he talking about?
Who can I call right now?
What's he talking about? All right, continue.
Brother. Call my brother. Go. My brother listens to all this stuff. He loves Rogan. Call my brother. Go. Did you listen to it? He goes, yeah, I did. And I was hoping to be like, fuck that guy. You know, my brother's a super opinionated dude, man. Like, super opinionated. He goes, yeah, I gotta be. I'm with Rogan, man.
Your brother, your own brother.
He goes, I'm with Rogan, man. Yeah, I don't want to see you get punched in the face anymore. I went, and then again, try not to cry. I go, oh, cool, man. Someone's calling. I'll call you right back.
I'll call you right back.
Damn, 40 people and his own brother just doesn't even have his back anymore. It's a sad day, man. Especially like he doesn't want to be a peasant. He said, "People, anybody listening, if you're not a UFC fighter, Brendan Schaub just called you a peasant. Are you gonna take that?" And you know what? Someone's got to tell his brother to shut the hell up because
he's like that mangina chick, Angela Magana, calling everyone peasants.
Yes, actually, let's I guess are we done soccer kicking Brendan Schaub? Should we let him off the hook for right now? It's your call, Jake, man. I mean,
let's let him off. It's honestly part of me thinks, as frank as Rogan was, he maybe should have done that off air. And yes, I know they were doing a podcast and Rogan was being real, but fuck, that was super real.
Dare I?
Yep, but you know, I do appreciate seeing honesty. The fact that, like, you know, at least he didn't cry. Like, I'll give Brendan Schaub credit for that. At least he didn't cry like a little bitch. It was just cool to see, like, Joe actually, you know, I mean, it was a complete shoot. Joe likes the dude. He was speaking from what he feels, honestly, and from having watched and seen the careers of hundreds of fighters. He knows what the fuck he's talking about. There's something to that. There's something to that, people. Joe Rogan, man, he thinks, you know, I'm going to talk to this guy before he even starts having the problems, you know? And that's something that a lot of fighters don't think about. And honestly, they all need a Joe Rogan in their life. Someone that's going to give them a little warning, man. Someone that's going to throw up the yellow light, you know? Tell them it's time to slow down. You might have to stop soon. So Brendan Schaub, man, yeah, get beat up one more time just for me, though. Hopefully it's going to be the Overeem that destroys him. But to wrap up the show, let's just break down who we think is going to be the woman champion tomorrow night.
Did you want to play those CM Punk clips and get back to the CM Punk topic, or just breeze past it?
I think we're done with CM Punk. We were going to play the white belt clip, but yeah, basically he admitted he was a white belt on Fox Sports Live. It was embarrassing. But nah, we're getting ready to wrap this up, man. But yeah, tomorrow, tough finale, whatever. Our boy Crookshank is fighting, and been on both shows. Good friend of mine, good friend of Jake's, and also our good friend and guest on the Word in the Street podcast, Rose Namajunas, is actually fighting for a UFC championship title. She was on the podcast. The interview and episode with her was mysteriously removed from YouTube. Don't know why. We'll try to get it reposted pretty soon. Probably after she's champion, it'll get a good pop. But yeah, who do you got, man? I think she's gonna win. Rose is gonna win, and I believe that Crookshank is, of course, going to destroy his opponent, put on a show for all the ladies and gentlemen on the card and in the audience. Who are you calling on this card that? You know, who do you want to mention? What's happening?
Doug Rose by submission, people. It's going down. I also see Darren Cruikshank winning the fight via KO. Both of those finishes come early in the first or second round. Jeremy Stevens, I'm picking him over Charles Oliveira, although I think it's going to be close. I got your boy Yancey Boy defeating Joe Proctor. I'm taking Randa Marcos over Jessica Penne. I'm taking Felice Herrig over Lisa Ellis. I'm taking Tisha Torres over Your Majesty, Angela Magana. Joanne Calderwood over Allen's girl, Sohee Ham. Taking Beck Rawlings, who's actually been training with the Diaz brothers, over Heather Clark, and Daly and Hill and those other fights. But yeah, this UFC on Fox 13 card is really interesting with Stipe and Junior. We both talked about that fight, but a couple other interesting fights. RDA and Nate Diaz, Overeem versus Struve. I'm going Overeem in the fight against Struve. I'm going Mitrione over Gonzaga. I don't know who to pick. Nate versus Dos Anjos. Nate is a live dog, plus 200. But Dos Anjos looks so good against Bendo. It's hard to pick against him, so I'll take RDA against Nate to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah, on the Saturday night card, I've got, of course, Overeem over Struve. I believe that Stefan Struve will probably be the first. This is a good, and I hate to use the word good, but if there's going to be any UFC match where you could predict someone was going to drop dead of a heart attack or something of that nature, it's going to be this one, Overeem versus Struve. I think Struve, they need to get him out of there. He's a liability. The dude, he's falling apart. His heart's all messed up or something, like he was Dan Hardy. Overeem's going to put him out. Matt Mitrione versus Gonzaga, who gives a shit? Just as long as somebody gets knocked out and they don't gas out like those bums from that one fight that I can never remember who it was, but we all know it was the most boring heavyweight UFC fight of all time. My man Nate Diaz already, of course, I've got his back. That is the best bet if you want to make some money. He is going to whoop Dos Anjos' ass. But bet everything on it, people. Everything. Sell some shit and go down the block. Meet your bookie. Bet on Nate Diaz to win. And, of course, Dos Santos. You can parlay that up. That'd be a nice little chunk of change, I guess.
She took his false teeth out and stuck them in a snatch.
God bless. And, but the chick fight's tomorrow. What time does that shit start? Fucking 5 p.m.
If it's 2 in the afternoon and you ain't high, go fuck yourself. Get out of my face. I want you around me like I want cancer in my ball sack. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, man. Of course, I got Nama Yunus winning the championship, becoming the next, the second female UFC champion. I'll go with Jeremy Stevens, I guess. Yancey Boy, I'll back you up on that one. Magana, I think she's going to win. I'll take Jessica Penne.
Magana,
took the other girl.
Huge underdog, yeah. I took Marcos.
Yeah, I'll take Magana just because she's ridiculous, I guess, and she's retweeted or favorited a couple things and talked to me on Twitter. So that alone, for that reason alone, and because I have no idea who her opponent is, I wasn't watching.
Craziest bitch in UFC history.
Yeah, hopefully. And
that is the sort of chick who will John Wayne Bob at your ass for real.
Yeah, I almost blocked her last night though. She was cutting weight and tweeting pictures of like Beck Rawlings, I guess her name is, on the toilet. It was disgusting. It was disgusting.
Oi, Beck Rawlings taking a shit while I weight cut. Like, nah.
Yeah, that's the kind of shit that I would have blocked her, except she's got this fight coming up. So I can't stress enough how disgusted I was.
Look at that fucking hole. Holy stuff.
Yep. And Nama Yunus, she said she was gonna win with a head kick KO. So I'll predict that. I know you had a submission? Yep. I'll back her up on the head kick. Pat Barry's gonna scream his ass off and try to steal the show with his celebrating. He's gonna take credit for it like he was Steven Seagal. But
which is crazy. Think like a year ago, like between Barry and Rose, Barry was 100 times more popular than Rose.
Yep.
Rose was known as Barry's girlfriend. That's what her claim to fame was. And I remember when we talked to her earlier this year, it was probably like February or March maybe, like Barry said some shit in the background and we're like, oh, it's Barry, holy shit. And this year has progressed. Barry got knocked out by Zach Morcasa at Glory 16. I was there in Denver on press row. Sad to see. And since then, Rose is now fighting for a UFC belt. It's like, man, Barry, I am sure he has got to be ecstatic and really pumped for his woman. But there's got to be just that little inkling in the back of his head, like, man,
Yep.
I went after this UFC belt my entire career, and to be honest, didn't come anywhere close to sniffing it out. I didn't come anywhere close to a title fight, a title eliminator fight. He just didn't have the ground skills and the chin. And now his girlfriend, who he's been dating since way before she was even a big prospect, now she's fighting for UFC gold. Part of that is, I'm sure, just got to eat at him.
I guess, but at the same time, at least it's his chick. If he gets too pissed off, he can just, dominate her, go to work. It's not as bad as if, like, he brought in, like, some dude friend of his into his fight camp, and then, like a TJ Dillashaw situation, or on Favor's ass. Like, it ain't that hurtful. If she's rich, he's rich.
Before we wrap up the show, 3 really quick things. 1, shout out to Steve Mazzagatti on Twitter, 2 Z's, 2 T's,
yes,
who tweeted us saying, you know the anger you have when you have a fart, but you shit yourself instead? That's how I feel about Brendan Schaub. Nice. And a couple minutes ago, we got a tweet from our boy, Davey Boy, saying, at the MMA Podcast, knock some sense into Ramsey's picking that skank mangina. We heard Davey hates her. Bong rip for the working man, but I don't know if you saw the comments Rose made about Rufus Sport a couple weeks ago. Did you see all that? What did you make of all of that? Because that in its own, especially if Rose becomes a UFC champ, that was some harsh shit. And the fact that Askren was asked about it, Askren, who is a Rufus Sport guy through and through, didn't deny any of it. Just said, yeah, we've learned and we've grown and it's not that bad anymore, but sort of gave in a little bit as far as letting people know that the culture here was/is, who the fuck knows, but it's been fucked up.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to remember why Davey hates Angela Magana so much. He explained it.
I think he explained it, but she's just polarizing as fuck, and I think to see shit talk come from a guy like Connor, who's steamrolling everyone, or Chael, who's steamrolling everyone, is one thing. To see it come from, to see a fighter literally telling all of her followers, fuck you peasants, get back in line, you stupid piece of shit.
What a gimmick.
Like, dude, you fought once in the Tough House and lost, and in all likelihood, Tisha Torres is going to beat the ever-living fuck out of you. Jeez, I don't know.
Oh, Christ. Good times, man.
Dude, even if Torres wins, the UFC will probably keep her around, because it's not like the women's strawweight division has any fighters, literally. Like,
they'll keep her around because she has to rematch Rose now.
She could go, like, Magana could go 0-3, and the UFC would probably think about keeping her around, because the strawweight division literally has been non-existent, and she, as polarizing as she is, I don't think she's nearly as funny as Chael or Connor, but at the same time, she knows what she's doing. She's stirred up a lot of interest around her name. I mean, there's a reason we're fucking talking about her. And our boy Dave, he just tweeted us a screenshot. She blocked me from Twitter because I keep it real. Man.
All right.
I don't know. I've gotten blocked by a ton of people, Dana White included. I don't know. I don't hate Dana. He's just a little too thin-skinned, just like your girl Magana.
Yeah, man. And about the Duke Rufus thing. I didn't really side with anybody complaining about his gym because honestly, no one's forcing you to be there and train as hard as he wants you to train, or like. You can always walk away. You don't have to be there. So that kind of seemed a little, it seemed a little weak to me. It's like, nah, he's not just some sinister guy that opened up a gym just to watch people get hurt because that's his gimmick. Like, no, this seemed a little bit personal for some reason. I think there's a side of the story that we probably didn't get on the Rufus thing. But no, it don't matter anymore.
Hot take.
Yeah, Rose is, she's tough. She survived. Looks like she's doing okay for herself. She's fighting for the title in a few hours, and I'm happy for her. Definitely came out of nowhere. She built up quick, and of course she was on my show. That will always gain you street cred, just like our caller from earlier. Just want to shout out his Twitter, GB Linden, and that's Linden with an EN at the end. EN. GB Linden on Twitter. Follow him, people. And everybody else, Davey Spears, Steve Mazzagatti on Twitter, Ed O'Neill, MMA Roasted Adam Hunter, Chael Son and Tyler Minton, Nate Diaz, Phil Brooks, Tito, Front Row Brian, C. Lowenstein, Alexis, Ashley, Katie Bear. Everybody, I love you. Jake, what do you hear? What do you say? Where can people find you?
You can find me at the MMA Podcast. A couple other shout-outs. Westland Eagle, AH, Yow, The Truth, Ross Finkelstein, E before the L. Follow FRB Show on Twitter. Keep in touch with the Front Row Brian Show. We got a lot of fun interviews. This second show with Malky Kawa, Ben Askren, and Justin McCulley was a lot of fun to do. Another shout out, Mystery Deja. That's the word mystery, then DEJA, doing the outro for the MMA podcast. Check him out on YouTube, actually, because he has a bunch of dope ass raps. But we appreciate the support. Going home to Florida this weekend for a couple weeks for Christmas. I hope we can keep podcasting while I'm back home. I'm sure it'll be an option, but I love the word on the street. I love the listeners. Ramses, I love you.
Right back at you, man. Everybody stay alive, stay well. Remember, the good news, he is risen. You can be saved. And if you don't want to end up like Brendan Schaub, just out on the street, beat, broken, no soul. Follow me on Twitter at The Aunt Jimmy Show. Listen next week. We're going to have tons of high-profile guests. Your life is never going to be the same again. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, everyone out there. Tune in next time. That's the bottom line. And this is the word on the street.
Stay black.
Take me through it. Well, I'm the best corner in the game. When you try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's the result you gonna get. Don't you ever talk about me. Who was talking about you? Crabtree, don't you open your mouth about the best. Or I'm gonna set it for you real quick. LOB.